Katia Stern, known as the Wow Woman.
Wow Woman is someone who is constantly showing up in the boardroom, bedroom, and the beach. It's the joy of life. It's that zest. And I think a lot of women, especially over 40 or 50, are losing it. I did almost die in a fire. I literally thought that was my last breath. My nose was burning. I couldn't breathe, and I made it outside somehow. Everything just was in ashes. And I had to build over. I had to build again. Slowly, I started looking for ways to basically become me. The law school was there, the course in fitness training, then fitness nutrition, health coaching, started learning hormones. All of those parts play an important role in the most important field, sexology. And I called my daughter, I said, I'm going back to school. And my daughter was like, so what are you studying now? I'm like, sex. She's like, Mom, you were all about success. I'm like, no, sex. And I'm glad I got to learn this. That wasn't always like this, obviously. I was a good girl, and then I became me.
I'm Manning Sumner. I've lived my life by one motto: no days off. No days off is never taking a day off on you. It's a commitment to becoming your best self. Get ready to be inspired to do the same. This is the Big Dawgs with Manning Sumner. Well, Katia, thanks for joining the Big Dawgs. Appreciate you taking the time to do this on a Thursday. I'm going to tell the audience a little bit about you, and then we'll just crank this thing out, all right?
All right.
Katia Stern, known as the Wow Woman. You were born and raised in Moscow, Russia, and moved to Canada at 17 years old. In your 20s and 30s, you followed the path you thought was expected of you, earning degrees in psychology from York University, public relations and marketing from Moscow State University, and a law degree with a master's in international law from the University of Miami. Despite these accolades, you felt unfulfilled, fearing your age, and feeling like your life had tick-tocked away without you even noticing. After a fire almost took your life at your family's cabin in Moscow, this experience shifted your perspective, pushing you to start a living for yourself at 42, which I find to be amazing. You adopted the what-if rule, taking risk and choosing happiness over external validation. You left the legal field and became an advocate for women, embracing the belief that there's only one law to follow, the law of being happy. And hold on, I want to read a couple of your quotes, because I'm a big quote guy, as you can see in the gym. I help other women become themselves to confidently show up in the boardroom, bedroom, and on the beach. Love that. Love that. And this is one of my all-time favorites, Making America and Two Genders Sexy Again. Do you have the hat made already?
No, I gotta create one.
Love it. Well, let's just dive into this. What was the culture shift like being born and raised in Moscow, Russia, and then moving to Canada when you were 17 years old? And how did you eventually end up in Miami? Like, how did you end up in Miami?
I came and stayed. First time I was here, first of all, thanks for having me.
Of course.
It's definitely fun. It's super excited to share what I know, what I've experienced, what I am about to experience with you and your audience. Thanks for having me. And moving to Canada was different, because in Moscow I was living this glitz and glam life. It just happened. I come from a good family, wealthy family by the communist standards at that time. And when I came to Canada, I basically started from zero, even though I was 17, but I was an adult. I wasn't like 17 years old here, so I was already kind of on my own. So I went to school, and it's good to have both experiences. Actually, I think I benefited from having that Russian style, being that the Russian, the Slavic toughness, and the Canadian, the nicer way, the more proper and very polite or whatever, liberal support another conversation. But I picked up both worlds, but when I came to Miami, I was at university, and I was like, okay. This is it.
Yeah.
This is me. This is totally me. The lifestyle, the ocean, just the freedom. I think the sense of freedom that.
What year did you come to Miami?
94.
Okay.
3, 4,
So
something
you've been
like
there
that.
a lot.
Yeah. I come and go.
Okay.
I'm not I've lived after that. I lived in Monaco. That's another big part of my life and my story, because I really lived that that was actually glitz and glam.
Okay.
Because it just happened that I worked for it. I lived on this huge boat, 47 meters, 7 people serving me, champagne, lobster, and I'm like this Russian princess. And then it all ended, and I left. The father of my child was nothing, was zero. Was her with, what was it? Mercedes, keys for the Mercedes, and my 3-year-old daughter. That's it, zero. No child support, nothing. I know I'm jumping ahead of myself because there's so much, but I think it's very important to let your audience know that there's, like, you see me now, people see you now, and they don't see the backstory. They don't see the lows,
right.
and they only see the highs, and they kind of get into this, oh my God, I'm not that fortunate, I'm not that, that's not going to happen to me. No, it's going to happen to you if you take days off.
I love that. Yeah.
Yeah. It's so we all been through shit. I did almost die in a fire. Like I literally thought that was my last breath. And when I took it, my nose was burning. My throat was totally, I couldn't breathe. And then I'm taking another breath, and I could make it because I made it outside somehow down the stairs. I don't know how that happened, but I ended up outside, and I was, I have goosebumps. And I see, like, because I know my brothers, I'm like, oh, Alex, are you here? Oh, the dog. Okay, everybody got out alive.
Wow.
But I was standing there in my socks on first snow, November 8th, I believe. And I saw my house burning down. My legacy, where I spent my childhood, everything just was in ashes. And basically my life was in ashes because I just left the father of my child with zero, and I had to build over. I had to build again, and I built better.
Love it. How many kids do you have?
One.
Okay.
Oh, she's
and how old is
enough
she?
for 10.
That's amazing.
She's amazing. She's 21.
Oh, amazing.
She's a ballroom dancer, professional. I'm very proud of that achievement of hers and mine. And her father, I have to say, that her
that's
father
such a
did
disciplined skill. So people don't realize the amount of.
She would wake up at 4, go to those how do you call them, dancing competitions,
right.
and then an hour of makeup, that hair, and then would come back home at like 10, 11 at night. We have to go back to school in the morning, and she would be in the shower taking all that stuff, all that glue that she had on, the makeup, and she's a kid, and I look at her, I'm like, yeah, you okay, you can do it, and I'm thinking, how? I could never do this myself because I wasn't that disciplined. I didn't do any professional sport, unfortunately, because I think I would be a good athlete if I would just put my mind into it. But that started for me later. I did become, I made it, I can say professional, but I made it to the national championship Canadian as a bodybuilder, fitness bikini at 43. And I was like, wow.
So, but go back on that. So you have this life-altering situation, house, and you almost dying, the whole, losing everything. What in that moment clicked where you now, like, not even a year later, you're competing on stage in bodybuilding? Like,
that wasn't a year later. It was a few years later. Yeah.
Okay. But what led you to? Have you always been into working out and lifting weights and stuff, or?
I thought I was.
Okay.
Like a lot of women, like, oh, I'm here on the treadmill, and she's walking there for like an hour, and I worked out for 2 hours today. No, honey, you didn't. You were wasting your time, pretending, and it's a pity that people pretend, and they're fooling themselves. And no, that's where I was. I thought I was doing it, but then. How did this happen? Something clicked that moment that, oh my God, I'm dying, but I haven't lived yet. For me, it was always for some kind of outside achievement. For my parents, obviously, I love them. And it's a good thing. Yes, they do push. Like I pushed my daughter, but it was always inside I was like, okay, I have to do it. I have to do it. And once you have to, it's a different energy.
Right.
It's only if I want to. So I think that's when this wanting part started. I started realizing that what is this I want, and what do I have to do to get there? And slowly I started looking for ways to basically become me.
Okay.
And then there was the law school was there, and I thought that was my thing to do. You know, this Russian blonde, beautiful. I always consider myself beautiful, even though I was the most unconfident person.
Really?
I kind of knew I was beautiful, but I was having like I couldn't speak. I was mute. I was afraid of public speaking. Now I'm on TV doing live things in the States. Like I'm doing this and I'm loving it. But always the happiness is on the other side of fear. We know that. So once you get over that bridge,
what do you think contributed to the? Would you call it low self-esteem or fear? Or what do you think contributed to that? Because like you said, I mean, you're a beautiful woman. Right. You're educated, like beyond, like you have a master's degree in law and all this stuff. Yeah. I mean, that's a that's a big deal. That's a big deal. Yeah. So it seems like you would be on top of the world. What do you think was causing that?
I would want to say my father. Okay. He passed away 20 years ago. I love him, but he was pushing me into becoming better, and I understand him. But I would never, stop and like say, okay, and he would never do it. Like, okay, good, let's celebrate, like you're good enough, you this, you...
It was always more.
It was always like the next thing.
Right.
Like that carrot that you're always chasing the next carrot. And I think I picked up that mode of operation. There's always the next thing, never enough. And right now I'm doing the totally opposite. Like I'm celebrating every little step. Like, oh, let's celebrate, let's dance, let's have nowadays off water and just, enjoy life more in those moments, like now, not tomorrow. So I started slowly changing my habits. And I think around that time, I who got me into that? Somehow I found myself doing the first like a personal development training. Okay. Oh my God, that was the mindset change, and from what I remember, it was exactly that. There are two moving energies, how do you call them, powers that drive you, driving factors. Mm-hmm. It's out of love or out of fear. Yeah,
I've heard it.
So basically, I was doing everything out of fear of that my father is going to be upset, fear that I'm not good enough, like in my whatever class, fear, like always out of fear. And acting out of love is totally different energy. So I think at that moment, that was big when I switched. I'm going to be acting out of love, not out of fear.
I was just having a conversation with my brother about this, like operating at a state of gratitude.
Right.
It just makes things way better than operating, like you said, out of fear or fear of loss or worrying and stuff like that. Just wake up and be grateful for where you are while you pursue where you're going and where you want to be.
Right. Because grateful, you can't be in fear and grateful at the same time. Exactly. That don't mix. So yes, I even did courses on this. I did teach like a gratitude challenge or something. I was doing it with my WOW women, and they loved it. And I'm like, my God, it's like an instant trick when you change your state of life, state of being.
So talk about the wow of you. Where did that come from?
Oh my God, that has so many facets. I was looking when I started doing. Okay, I quit law when I realized that this fitness world was taking me in.
And forgive me, but how deep
Right.
were you in law? Like, were you a
No,
practicing
I
lawyer?
wasn't deep in
Okay.
law because
All right.
I realized early, like I'm doing. I didn't pass the bar exam.
And were you doing law because of your dad?
No,
No?
no. My
It was
father was a
just-
jeweler.
Oh, okay.
I grew up in the middle of like in the center of Moscow, Arbat Street, famous Arbat Street. He had a jewelry shop. Everybody, the whole Moscow would come to him, like the gangsters, the police, whatever. Like he was pretty well known, and I grew up surrounded in like diamonds and nice watches. So it all started there. My love for little bling things. What was the question? Yes.
So you decided
yeah.
to walk away from law, but you weren't really
So
deep
my
into
father,
it. So
I wasn't deep in it because again, I liked the ego part of it.
Okay.
I liked like I would imagine myself like I'm an actress. I'm a natural actress, but I couldn't allow myself to pursue that. And I know you were doing it, right?
Yeah.
You wanted to be, so you understand me, like
Oh, yeah.
how we have it at us. But there's a path, like by being that. To actually going to auditions and
it's something,
it's a
right.
different
Talk about
world.
self-esteem. Boy, they beat you up.
Exactly. My self-esteem could not handle that.
I mean, I could care less of what people think about me, but when you go to these castings, and especially back in the day when I would do the modeling stuff, every single one I'd walk into, you're too big, you're too big, you're too big. So then you like damn near stop eating, and it's like I can't change my bone structure, you know what I mean? So
I so know what you mean.
Oh my gosh,
I
it
was
was
told
terrible.
I was fat.
I mean, I was shredded, like not an ounce of fat on me, and they'd be like, "You're too big," and I'd be like, "I have a 27-inch waist. What do you want from me?" You know, not now, of course, but
They're
back
like
then,
those- yeah.
when I was in my
Yeah.
20s. So,
Yeah, and the standards were different. Now it's more into fitness
Yeah.
people. We kind of can
well, now it's
go
like
back into it now.
everyone's a model now.
Yeah.
Because of Instagram.
Those of you had to be
Yeah,
this
but back in
skinny,
the day,
almost
it was
anorexic.
teeny.
Yeah, and I think due to that, I became bulimic because I was told that I was too fat, and then I remember this stupid thing. I'll never forget this. I have a lot of friends who are hockey players, like NHL. They're a lot of Russian guys, and I don't know. I was always attracted to hockey players. It's my little.
Well, they're usually like 6'4", 240.
I
so
spent
get
7
it.
years
Yeah,
with one of
exactly.
those amazing guy, but not this one. Another one. We were talking. He's like, "How come you're not modeling?" I said, "You know what? They told me to lose weight," and he's like, "So why don't you?" Like an athlete, like really, like a man. Why don't you? And I was like really. Well, if they like sign a contract with me, that's what I answer. Oh my God, the stupid answer ever. Well, if they offer me something, if they sign a contract, then I'll lose weight. He's like, Katia, this is the same thing as saying, sign me up for NHL and I'll learn how to play hockey.
Exactly.
I will never forget. So I guess that's how my modeling career ended at that time. And so I was never too deep into a law because again, I imagine as an actress myself like in court, like nicely dressed, but I never imagined the actual work on the computer to like billing hours and doing all that stuff. Like that's not me. And it's funny how we live in this fantasy world, and when I woke up, I guess with that, when like life is over, stop playing somebody else's role. This is not your role. You are out there. You're more into whatever I'm into now. And that's why when I didn't pass my first bar exam, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do it again every 6 months, no problem. And then just life kind of took me into different directions. I started working in this company, running a big construction project. They hired me because I was, had the skills. I was communication skills, and I had to be like representing them. So they take me there, and when the contract was over, I ended up with like zero, nothing to do, and I'm a very active person. So I started going to the gym a lot. Like I just had a lot of time in my hands. started going to the gym, and I like to learn. And my trainer was like, okay, once a week, twice a week, 3 times, 5 times a week. I'm like, okay, every day I don't mind paying, because I'm like, I love paying for coaching, because I want to get there fast.
Yeah.
And I don't understand people who like, no, I'm going to save money and it will take you 10 years to get there, if ever. So that's like, and I'm learning, and then something is not happening. Like, I know I need to learn this. Okay, I'm going to do it myself. So I took the course in fitness training, then fitness nutrition, then health coaching at the like a nutrition institute or something. Then it was hormonal specialist in hormonal health or something. I started learning hormones. So all of that now has become my now I put all of this together, because my first degree was psychology. Then I went into law, and then all of this little skills, or big skills.
Big skills, yeah.
Yeah, they kind of now, I created this, well, first of all, I created me based on all this research, all the knowledge, and obviously practicing that knowledge, because knowledge is zero until you apply. And that's how now I took myself a step further or deeper into sexology, because that's all of those parts play an important role in the most important field, sexology, because that's deep. That's the root cause of a lot of problems. That's the solution is also there.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's.
So take us down that. So and then, but tell me a little bit of where WOW came from. Like,
WOW. When I started doing that, and I became a fitness competitor. After I learned all of that. By the way, here in Miami, like I was working out, and this guy, who's big, he's I don't know, he's an athlete. I just asked him, like, where do I get to get my fat measured?
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, go to this guy. He trains people. I walk in. He's like, okay, let's do it. He's measuring me. He's like, looks at me and says, have you ever thought of competing? I'm like, listen, do you know how old I am? I was thinking he would like die right there. Like, I'm 42 or 41, whatever I was at the time.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, we have a category for that. That's made me think. So anyways, I competed. And after that, everybody started asking me like, why, how, what. So I created some trainings. I created at that time I needed to share my knowledge.
Right.
And I was looking for the name, like the brand name. But all of a sudden, I swear, at the middle of the night, I wake up with this. Wow, that's it. Because I was trying to define that woman. Like, maybe it's for, in marketing, you have to define who it's for. Like, for the I don't know, for the beautiful women, who is it? For the successful women, for the high achievers, like all different. I'm like, no. Like, for the wow woman. And that says it all.
Yeah.
It's like when you walk in and people say, wow.
It's
and
very,
you
it's
say,
very,
wow. The most important is how you feel
show.
inside.
It sounds like a talk show. It does. Like, you know what I mean?
Oh my God. I communicate with my body now, because I got so in tune with my body. So now I have the answers from the body. Now when you say it and I get goosebumps, I had a meeting yesterday with a producer, because the Wow Woman show gotta come to life.
Amazing.
Definitely.
Yeah.
It's out there.
It's perfect.
I was looking for a new angle.
Yeah.
And actually, okay, I'm gonna share it with you. Don't tell anybody.
Well, you're about to tell the world.
Well, okay, the world. Okay, once it's out there, it's
this
starting
isn't
to...
live though. We can edit it.
No. I'm kidding. Of course, I'm here. I actually wanted to be, because this wow thing is, okay. Wow woman is someone who is confidently showing up in the boardroom, bedroom, and the beach. Again, everywhere, right? Because everything is,
Connected.
Right. Now because I'm thinking about this sexology field and obviously about sexology marketing angles. Again, no, that was in the middle of the night, but it was like, wow, the well-orgasmed woman. And orgasm, not in the sense of like a physical orgasm, but the French say they call it the joie de vivre. It's the joy of life. It's that zest. And I think a lot of women, especially over 40 or 50, are losing it because it's so focused on so many years of focusing on the kids, on the achievements, and building businesses, raising kids and husbands, and there's just
I like how you worded that, raising husbands.
Raising husband is our favorite thing to do. We just love that. We think we know it all. And you do this, and you do that. And this mothering thing is actually it's killing this, talking about sexuality, it's killing this sexual vibe, because mothering, it's like, it's a different role. If we're talking about that now. Sorry, I'm jumping because there's so much.
Yeah,
and this sexology thing is, being a mother is not the same like being a wife or partner or sexual partner, and that's where a lot of women cross the line, thinking, but I love him, but I wish him the best, but I told him to, he needs to change his socks or whatever. No, this is mothering, and normal guy would not want to fuck his mother. Right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Right. So the mix up of the roles is very, very big, and we have to be very careful about that. See, I do have a lot to say about this, living that orgasmic in all the senses life.
Yeah.
So definitely, show is in the making.
I love it. It's definitely it's gonna do well, because the name, you, and then you have wonderful women on and guests and share, and so.
And men.
All right.
Men,
hopefully you'll have me on. So.
Of course, I now it's actually interesting for this sexology work. I attract men because men are willing to pay for it. Men are willing to share their fantasies, their problems, their desires. And men need more support in this sense, because women have they have girlfriends. We can talk about these things.
Right.
Not so much men. He can share his fantasies. Like, even, for example, straight guys watching gay porno, like, and they go, am I gay? Well, are you? That's okay.
Yes.
But are you worried about it? Yeah. Well, you okay? A lot of guys watch gay porn.
Interesting.
I know.
A lot?
It
Oh,
is.
God.
Okay, a lot. Few. Okay, I'm gonna
Maybe in
soften it.
Maybe
I'm gonna soften it. No. But anyways, then they. Okay, maybe not like actively like watching, but then they're okay with that. They're like, I'm so okay with myself that I can even watch that and be okay with that. I know it's like a next level, but they're different people, and people have different desires and fantasies.
So do you use your gifting in sexology as like almost like a therapist, like a sex therapist? Would you say that's what you're doing?
For now, it's almost like this.
Yeah.
In Canada, I can be called a sex therapist,
Okay.
not in Florida. And I don't want to be, because licensed psychologists and people who like doing the sex therapy are very limited in their in everything. There's so many limitations. I see myself more of an educator.
Okay.
And that's where this is coming. The show that you mentioned is, yes, it's to spread, because I can talk about it. I have no problems talking about whatever.
Yeah.
And therapy is not, I'm doing it now. That's, It's kind of a mix of coaching, therapy. People need to be heard, seen, understood, supported.
Mm-hmm.
In a safe space, and the place feeling safe also. It's like it builds. It's not like you come to me and say, this is a safe space. Okay, no, it's not like that. You gotta build that like everything else.
Right.
And so, but it's so important, and I'm so happy I found my path, and a lot of that had to do because I did a lot of coaching for the last a lot of years, and I'm privileged to be coached by 3 people from the movie The Secret.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Bob Proctor was my first. I have a video with him. He's like, I'm sitting here with Katia. If you ever need to get in shape, to look good, to feel good, get in touch with her. I know the best when I see them. Like, can you imagine? He gave me this new world of coaching. I'm like, okay. And he actually told me, I said, Bob, what I do? I want to be like you when I grow up. Like, I literally said that. He's like, write a book. Katia, write a book. I wrote a book. His book is called You Were Born Rich. I wrote a book, You Were Born Wow.
You were born wow.
That's
and when did you write that book?
When?
When?
It came out 2020.
Okay.
During COVID, of course. So I didn't have my big party and Bars and Novels signing. So I did it a couple of years later. But that was my it was my coming out in a way to express myself. My whole story is there, my personal ups and downs. So the people get to know me. And after I was coached by Jack Canfield, author of the Chicken Soup for the Soul, that's personally mentored as I became a success coach. We did a lot of work on mindset. So how to be successful, basically. Mm. And so I was teaching his system, and successful, very successful. I'm a good coach, and then to work on my speaking. Lisa Nichols, she was an opera. She's one of the best speakers. She taught me private coaching, how to express myself, how to unmute myself. So I did. Now you can't stop me. But after these years of coaching, again, I was like, again, my ego, but in a good sense, I guess, because ego is sometimes if it's like fear, it stops you from a lot of things. But my ego, in the sense of my pride, I would say, and really being so educated with all of those degrees, all of a sudden I'm a coach. Like, a little bit, I don't want to insult anybody, but coaching has become, unfortunately, I think it's a great profession. It's a great, but it's just become a little bit, and I was looking for something else. So now I'm a clinical sexologist doing a PhD in sex. Like, have you ever met a person who has a PhD in sex? Well, in sexology, but it's like, okay, I'm gonna have a hopefully PhD in sex. I like that. I like that. Even people say like titles don't matter. No, I think names matter, titles matter. But it's not like what somebody calls you. It's like or you call yourself.
Right.
When I first was called the Wow Woman, I was like, me? I had such an imposter after that book. Wow, and I did my trainings. I called them Wow this, Wow body, Wow this and that, and somebody called me the Wow Woman. Really, I was feeling, no, not me. I'm just a little. But then I embraced it. Yeah, I'm gonna be called the Wow Woman. That's me. Like, I'm gonna own it. Who doesn't like it? Like that. Then you're not my client. You're not my audience. You're not somebody. You're not from my world. And good. And I'm glad I got to learn this. That wasn't always like this, obviously. Like, I was I was a good girl, and then I became me. Better or worse.
Yeah.
Whatever. I can be both. That's the thing. I can be both. And a lot of women can. They have to be those good girls because they used to. They used to be like go for their fathers, for their mothers, for whoever is in society, and we're suffering because we're not accepting that those shadow parts, which we always have. Without black, there's no white. Mm-hmm. We have to accept those shadows. Once I've learned to accept the shadows.
Talk about a little bit about that, like the kind of core principles of this movement that you've kind of created, the wow woman, like what are some of the things that are kind of again your base? I know everybody's different, but what are the things that is kind of the core of what you're teaching women and or men about finding their true selves when it comes to, if it's sex or relationships or what have you?
There's a lot, but there's three totally basic things, absolutely basic, but people never learn to learn that. Self-love, self-care, self-image. And of course there's a lot, because in self-love, that's the mindset. And mindset, we got to learn to be selfish, and we were taught otherwise. And a lot lies in there, a lot of work. Wow woman is selfish because she really prioritizes herself without, making other people feel bad, of course. But we think it's the other way around, that we have to serve everybody else and then we're good. No, it's kind of this. It's a cliche, but
it's true. And I always say this all the time, is the whole mask thing and the plane.
Yeah.
But then also, if you're trying to pour from an empty cup,
absolutely,
then you're not really helping anybody around you.
Right.
And if you do put yourself first and become the best version of you first, then you have so much more to pour into others, because now you're pouring from this cup that's overflowing with all these things that you've put into it. So
yeah. And it takes so much, so long especially for women. Men, not so much. They more like, yeah, of course, it's for me. Yeah. Man. Amazing man. I love men. I think, I know. Again, another conversation. But we're having difficulties with that. We always, we're conditioned to put other people's needs first. And sometimes when I say this, I get so much negativity. I get criticized for, but what kind of mother are you? No, I do put my needs first, because I know when I'm healthy,
you're a better mother. Period.
I'm a better mother. Yeah. When I'm not all stressed out, I'm doing this for you, my kids. And she's like, she's all giving herself to this motherhood, and she's a victim, and she's suffering, and everybody around her is suffering. Her poor husband, her poor children. She's screaming, she's stressed, but she thinks she's this saint who has committed her life into this
sacrifice
thing, who doesn't even give a shit. That little kid that we love so much. No, but sacrifice doesn't really. No, it's where do we get this idea?
All right, so you have self-care, which to me you nailed it, because again you have to pour from a full cup, and then what was the second one?
Self-care was the second one.
The first one's self-love. Yeah,
self-love.
They kind of go hand in hand a little bit.
All of them.
Yeah. And but talk about the last one.
Self-image.
Yeah.
A lot of people think that self-image is kind of not a noble thing. Like if I'm smart enough, I'm successful enough, I don't need to care about all those things. But things matter. Things matter. I think it's a matter of respect to be well-dressed, to walk into a room and people... We don't want to be judged by our clothes. We don't. Reality is...
You are.
We are.
Everyone.
Why are we fighting reality? This is like human nature. Let's not fight human nature. Let's, go with the flow. I think Karl Lagerfeld said, if you get yourself in the morning in sweatpants, you failed. Your days failed. Like there's a connection, something like that. Yeah. And so, and that's a matter of respect. That's a matter of, again, discipline. And sometimes the what you say and how you look is not congruent. There's such a disconnect. So a person looking at you, and again, we do judge, whether we want it or not. We judge, I judge, you judge. I walk in, the first thing I see is your black tank top, right? It's immediate. It's our not prefrontal cortex. It's our limbic system, where all the emotions. So maybe that represents something for me. It represents Right, in this sense, it represents connection, right? We're connected right there.
Right, exactly.
Right. So
and not planned either, people.
Exactly. and the biggest motivator of human behavior is the need to belong to a group. So we belong.
Yeah.
So if you want to belong to some group, you dress a certain way, and it's easier. Why do we want to make things more difficult? And for women especially, like it has to be. It doesn't have to be to each his own, but if you want a certain to get to a certain level, dress the part.
It also just makes you feel better. Like, I'm sorry, but if you look good, then you feel good, and it's just they go hand in hand.
Right, but we were taught that no, it's your brain that matters. It's who you are inside. It's all those big words, and it's false.
Well, it does matter, but it's, to me, when people say that, it's all connected. So it's like, again, it goes back to, if you look good, you feel good. If you feel good, your mind is clear.
Right,
and
it's an ecosystem.
Right, it all
one connected to another, and one complements another.
Yep.
So, and when you're missing a piece, then something's missing. And
there's it's funny because I went and got my head shaved and cleaned up for this, and it never fails. Every single time I do that simple thing, I feel better. Like, instantly.
Simple.
Like, and
exactly.
it's a 30-minute shave and hot towel, whatever you want to call it, but it just, you're sharp, you're ready, and you feel better.
Because you're accepting yourself and you're loving yourself. But the people, they do, I did this very often. It's like you have this rebel inside of you. Why should I do this? I'm gonna go against the rules. But it's like a teenage behavior when they're rebels, when they're growing up and they want to establish themselves. But when you're an adult, it's like you focus on the goal, not on your feelings per se. If you want to really achieve something, get up. What do you want? What do you want to achieve? And you focus on that. Then all these steps going to be much easier once you focus on what it is. And put the emotional stuff aside, even though, especially for women, emotions are important. But when I'm thinking, everybody's asking me, how did I get to become a fitness competitor at 42? How did you wake up? How could you do so much cardio? How much you could do the food and take all that, the containers. I was on a private plane traveling with my high-end friends.
I've been there,
and I would have a container with me. They're looking at me funny.
Tupperwares
and I would say, I always saw the end. I would imagine myself on stage, looking like a star, feeling like a star, and then all of those, the containers, the exercise, and didn't really matter. It's just little things just to get there. I don't care. But having the big outcome, having that big vision, that's how I guess that's another advice.
Yeah.
It's focusing on the end result, and really have all the details, all the juice, the smell, how wonderful, how amazing, how it's gonna be. And people think that building a personal brand is okay, you hire a couple of marketers, and it's funny, right? Those people. No judgment, but I was one of those. I thought I just hire a good team,
right.
Professional marketers, and they're gonna do everything for me. No, I had to wake up in the middle of the night with that word. Then I had to become that wow woman inside, live and breathe it. Then teach other women how to become that, and then write a book and do a lot of other wonderful things, then reinvent and then redo and then forget everything. For example, a website that I have now has nothing to do with me today. So it's a constant building your brands, building yourself, rebuilding yourself. And I love doing that.
It's a constant state of improvement.
Yeah.
You can't stay stagnant. You can't accept where you are. You have to always improve. Always, constantly.
I'm a little bit cautious about the word improvement.
Okay.
Because improvement, I would say changing, because sometimes, like, is it constant improving? Is really getting better? Sometimes you gotta get, worse before you get better.
Yeah.
So it's a very, like, I'm very careful with words. That's why, and even becoming the best version of yourself, I'm also careful with that. Remember, I said somewhere on TV, and I got a lot of questions about that. Don't become the best version of yourself, because again, it goes back to that carrot that you have in front of me, because become the better version of yourself. That's kind of undermining what I'm today, because again, especially women. Tomorrow I'll become a better version. That means today I'm a failure. I'm a
I would disagree with the framing of that, because I think everything is about how you say it to yourself. So it's that conversation you're having with yourself.
Exactly. And
so there's definitely a healthy way. Like, the way you just said it, I never say that to myself ever in my 47 years of this earth.
Right.
I say it as, it's kind of like what I said earlier, is that I'm grateful for where I am, but I know that I'm not finished yet. Like I always say to my staff, we're just getting started. Like, my potential, I haven't reached my potential. I don't think maybe we ever reach our potential ever on this earth.
So hopefully not.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So I think there's always room for growth in some form or fashion without self-sabotage or beating yourself up or living in a space of what's the word I'm looking for?
Lack.
Yeah, like just, being the victim, saying that, So yeah, I mean, I think we're saying the same thing, just in a different way.
We're saying the same thing, but we're coming from a position. Okay, I want to see, we're out there. We're a little, 2 steps ahead.
Right.
Okay, we can call ourselves that. We're a couple of steps ahead. But a lot of people that we're talking to now, a lot of women and men, they're not there yet. Their mindset is still there. So when they hear, they already have that mindset that's not strong enough for now. And then they hear becoming the better version. It's like, okay, I was just doing this yesterday, but tomorrow I have to do it again more and more. And I can't, and I just want to give up. That's the thing that people take, we all want to achieve a lot, but lots of high achievers can break down the big goal, and that's why they give up. Because the goal's too big, and again, we don't stop and celebrate, like little steps, and that's how we get there, to better version, to a healthier version, to whatever versions. So whatever it is for you. Maybe tomorrow I want to be a bad girl. Yeah. Like, I don't want to be a good girl anymore. I honestly, I'm tired. So do I want to be a better version? No, I want to be my worst version tomorrow. I want to get up on the table, dance, and not give a fuck about anybody or anything. Is that a better version? I don't know. It is for me. I will feel myself.
Well, part of that too is your story, your journey, the things that get you going or get you moving, and maybe it's escaping also. Like, life is not easy. Like, there's a lot of pressures, a lot of things going on, and we're stuck, like, with ourselves. And I don't think sometimes people are uncomfortable with themselves. And
sometimes.
A lot of times, right? Yeah. So I think the more vulnerable you are with yourself and just letting yourself be your true self, whether that is considered good or bad, just do it anyways. I remember there was this girl that used to come to my gym back in like 2011, 2012. And she would come in and work out by herself. She'd have headphones on, and she would dance in between her sets like a stripper sometimes, like a ballerina. Like, she just loved to dance, and she danced like no one was watching in between. And there was something about it, because people would make fun of her and be like, what is that freak doing and stuff like that. But for me, I was like, she gets it.
Yeah.
Like, she gets it.
Oh yeah.
Because she's just, who cares? She's just being herself. She's just being herself.
That's
she's
important.
She's just doing what she wanted to do, no matter who was watching, no matter what. And there was something about that was just kind of cool. And I think when you meet those kind of people, they're just so comfortable with just being their authentic self. Right. That is such a wonderful expression to be around, because it reminds you that you can do the same thing. You don't have to wear this mask. You don't have to be something that you think people want you to be. Just be you. And then try to, in my opinion, try to be a better version of that authentic person as you can be throughout your life, so that you're constantly, like education or reading or what we listen to, these kind of things. If you just stop and you're not seeking knowledge and seeking new like for me, this is really fun for me and very engaging, because it's kind of like meeting the most mysterious, woman on earth. Like it's meeting someone that I probably wouldn't have met unless I got Amber to reach out to you, and I can't remember who connected. It was Paulina?
I think Paulina.
Yeah. So, and Paulina, meeting her, she lives her life like that for sure. Like I met her on a yacht, and she was just being completely friendly to everybody, and
she's amazing.
She's an amazing
Paulina,
woman.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Paulina. Shout out. Yeah. But so it's interesting how life works, how life puts you in front of people that you might otherwise never meet, and then making the most out of it and try to learn. Like hopefully I learn from you and you learn from me, and we take little bits and pieces, and then we grow.
Energy exactly. Exchange is so important. But going back to that, being in your body and being yourself, what happens is, especially with women, by the age you are, whatever, 40, 45, 50, we don't even know who we are anymore. So it's kind of easy to say, be yourself. And she's like, I don't know who I am. For many years, I was a wife. I knew that I was a wife, that I needed to serve my husband. I need to be this in a certain way. Then I was a mother also. I knew how it's done. And then I'm 50. The kids are off to school. The husband is off to whatever. And you're there by yourself. You don't know what you want. You don't know what brings you pleasure. Mm. So talking about pleasure, it's like, okay, have more pleasure. I don't even know what makes me feel good in any sense, in physical and emotional. I don't know. She doesn't know. So she needs to, at that time, it's very important to, I guess, to have people like me who was able to reinvent myself and still doing, and I will be doing all the time.
And what do you find are the, like when a woman is dealing with that, or anybody for that matter, but I mean, as you say, the way you described it, there's probably millions upon millions of women out there that are facing this.
Yeah.
What is, if someone doesn't know who they are, doesn't know what brings them passion or pleasure, where do they start?
First thing, get into your body. Start moving. Go there. Start moving. And you don't have to like, oh, I was there for an hour. You don't need an hour. Walk into the gym, look around, hire a trainer, better, or do something, or go for a walk, like do some movement. And then the next day you do 20 minutes. The day after, I don't know, 23 minutes of something. That's how you get going. Because what happens is there's me in my mind somewhere, and there's my body. And there's such a disconnect. And when the woman is disconnected from her body, that's it. She stops feeling. She's not herself anymore, because there's a disconnect. So by getting back into the body, by feeling the feelings, by not avoiding them, because what we do, we avoid. That's why we're overeating, overdrinking, porn is the same thing. It's an avoidance mechanism, because we can't deal with our emotions inside. So we go to those things outside of us, and going back into the body physically, emotionally, that's how you start. So whatever can be done to get your physical level up, and then, I mean, working out is not even an option. It's not an option for women. It's like, oh, I'm doing Pilates. Okay, good. Working out is not an option. I checked my bone density now. I'm above like 78% of women of my age with the bone density.
Because you lift weights.
Because 10 years ago, I started lifting weights.
Right.
I'm not working out for the next bikini season, which is in Miami all the time. So we got to be in shape. I'm preparing for my 60s, 70s, 80s, whatever. So think big. Think like have that vision in front of you. Not like, oh, okay, I worked out today, okay. And also that's also big. People for some reason think that working out is a punishment. I have to do it. I have to work out. I have to go on a diet. I hear this all the time. I have to go on a diet. I have to stop eating sugars. I have to. No, you don't have to.
You get to.
You're privileged. You're privileged to be able to have a gym like this. You're privileged to have this amazing water. You're privileged to be trained by people. I don't know if you train, but being active. A year and a half ago, I had a hip replacement surgery. Before that, for 2.5 years, I suffered. I couldn't walk. I couldn't have sex. I couldn't do anything. And I thought I was dying. I thought I was this old babushka who's basically whose life is over. And I realized why people get old, because there's no movement, because I can't move like a young person, because a young person would jump around.
Right.
A young person is light, can bend, can do whatever. We dance, Now, getting older, in front of a TV, that's it. You lose movement, you lose your strength. Of course, it's all interconnected.
My mom is 72, I think, or she's in her 70s, and my mom outwalks my dad my mom walks like a beast. Like you've never seen a woman walk so fast.
10,000 steps at least.
And then she does Pilates and lift weights, but she is, by far one of the most healthiest 70-year-olds I've ever been around, and she's glowing and looks great and it's fun. And I'm telling you, it's exactly what you said. It's because she moves every day. Yeah.
Amazing.
It's in the movement.
So you got a great example, and my mom is the same.
Yeah.
She's also very active, amazing, looking great, and she's such a motivator for me. And my daughter, she's looking at me. So you can't do it for you. Well, no, you still should do it for yourself, not do it for your kids. But by doing this, my daughter is so proud of me. She's like, here's my mom with and her kids. And just for that, look for those things that excite you, that find that pleasure, and what brings you pleasure. Sit down, write it down. What brings you pleasure, and keep searching, keep looking inside, and maybe remembering. I used to dance. Oh, okay. I wanted to be an actress. Kind of, that's what we're doing. It's funny because this is what you're doing your show. I'm almost doing my show. So whatever we wanted to do when we were younger, and it didn't happen back then because we need to go this transformational route, but we're still here and we're still doing what we wanted to do when we were younger. And then I think that makes us feel younger, right? Mm-hmm. Because we do what with young people do.
Right.
They're playing. I think life is a game. Life is a party, and we need to, but a healthy party.
When you got your hip replacement, how was that in terms of getting yourself back into being able to do stuff again? Was it a long rehab or was it quick? Or
don't tell my doctors. It was quick for me.
Yeah.
I just got right into that. I did it through pain. I know I wasn't supposed to. I still experience some pain. But the outcome of how I started feeling after a few years, it was just pretty bad 3 years. I lost a lot of money because my business partner betrayed me, and it was and he was Ukrainian, and this whole thing started, and he decided that I'm Russian, Ukrainian, I don't need to. Anyways, and it went downhill, everything. And so again, I'm like Phoenix, reborn again. But it took me It's now a year and a half, and I'm back to me. Totally different me, new
Healed,
me. I would
healed,
say,
you know,
healed,
healed version,
healed
you know,
in
pain-free version.
all the senses. Because after that, like when all of these things happen to me, and they happen to everybody, the first thing we say, we think, why did this happen to me? The world is not fair. People are not fair. I must have done something wrong. We get into this victimhood, and I got into this. Imagine, with like all my training, with all my, knowledge and expertise on this, I became a victim myself.
Yeah.
Because I was like looking for an outside help, even like maybe somebody will feel bad for me and will help me somehow, and support. I was looking for support, and then a couple of years, nobody really helped me. I mean, of course, my family, but no, it's me. I had to change that, and I realized that, yes, this happened to me. Okay, it took some time. It may take some time of grief. There was grief because I lost this and that. It's with grief, and it's natural. It took some time. Yes, it took more than I would ever think would take. Now you see me like on the other side of that whole thing. But having experienced that victimhood, I realized, my God, people get into that and they can't get out. It's so important to just slowly or fast to change the thinking of, no, I'm not a victim. It's okay that this happened to me. What are my lessons? What am I to do next? What am I to be next? Sit down again, reinvent yourself. What do you want? What do you want? Because we oftentimes do what other people want from us, but like actually get to the core of what do I want. That's important to realize at this moment of my new life. I realized it was sexology. The minute I was like, oof, that's what I want. And it took me some time to admit this to myself, because it's like, it's not like sex is a taboo topic. And I called my daughter. I said, I'm going back to school. She's like, okay, yeah, knowing you, I'm not, even though I promised myself to never go back to school again. I lie quite often.
But now you're going back on your own terms.
So and my daughter was like, so what are you studying now? I'm like, sex. She's like, Mom, you were all about success. I'm like, no, sex.
That's funny.
It's like, oh, okay, it is what it is. So I was like, relieve that, because there's my mom, there's my daughter. We're still kind of, kind of good girls.
Yeah.
Shame is a big thing.
So what is being a sexologist or sex expert, like, what does that entail?
Educating people and supporting people and helping them have a better sex life.
Okay.
And sex, again, it's not just the movement part. It's not the technique, even though techniques are important. Techniques are so important. We can talk about that too. But it's about communication. It's about body image. It's feeling in the body. It's a big part of being sexy and sexual. And there's a thing that I call sensual charisma. There's sex appeal. There's fantasies. There are fears.
Is there
guilt?
Yeah. Is there a correlation between sex health and health? Yeah. Of
course. Yeah. It's a hormone. Hormones are big. Cortisol, stress, diabetes. And erectile dysfunction is diabetes is causing it, because the blood flow is not happening. Can get it up. Yes. So sexual health is absolutely. That's why being a health coach and now sexual wellness, it's kind of
goes hand
in. Yeah. But mentally, guilt. Yes. For a lot of men, guilt is a big thing.
When you say guilt, what do you mean? For men?
Well, mostly it's men want more sex. not as much, yeah, and there's a mismatch.
It's because we're like three-peckered puppies.
It's because you can't deal with your shit, and it's a way for you to escape reality. No, there's so many different aspects of this, but usually it's that, and women, and he genuinely loves his wife or partner, but she's doesn't want to have the same amount. And it's not just the amount, it's the ways. Like men are more into exploring different things. Let's try this, let's try that, I've seen this on porn. My friends were talking about, I never watched it, but I heard. And women, again, conditioned to be the good girls. I could never do this. And he feels guilty now because he can't talk about this to his woman, unfortunately, because she's being this Mother Teresa. But it's actually a thing in sexology. There's a mother whore complex where
did you say mother whore?
Madonna whore. There are two sides of it: Madonna or whore. Madonna being like that sacred woman who is, like the mother of your child.
Right.
And on the other side, he wants her to be like his sin out there on porn, right? And he can't put those two things together. And sometimes he really loves his wife, but he can't have sexual relationship with her because she can't be that whore. And like she's a Madonna, she can't put those two roles together. And again, he's feeling guilty because like I don't want her, and that's a thing. And we work on.
But it's wrong. But it's a very. I don't know if wrong is the right word, but that's not the case though. Like you know what I mean? Like
for you?
Well, yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. I mean, I think that you don't. Again, that's how a lot of people are viewing it. When at the end of the day, you have to open your mouth and tell your wife what you want. And you have to also accept the fact that you're getting best of both worlds, the queen and the, whore, as you put it. I would never call my wife a whore, but you know what I'm saying?
No, but it's you didn't.
No, I know
you didn't create that.
I'm joking,
it's actually a thing. No, that's the ideal situation.
Yeah.
But that
do
is
you think
the problem.
Because we hear this all the time. Exactly what you described is something that's very prevalent conversation that happens in the world, and
in the men's
and especially
in the sauna. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I mean seriously, like you hear married men frustrated all the time about that very thing. Yeah. How do you address that with like do you talk to like partners, or do you typically talk one-on-one with people?
I'm not there yet. Working with couples is the next step.
Yeah.
And I want to mention my interest in this a little bit later. Remind me. But it's usually okay if a guy comes into the office and he says, "Well, but my wife is this and that," and I said, "Well, you were here.
Yeah.
We're dealing with you. She doesn't have a problem."
Right.
She's okay. You have the problem. I'm not going to change her. Let's talk to you. Let's see where, what part we can change in you, or maybe have you understand, or have you accept on where you picked up that you can see that. Was it like this before she had kids? What excited you in her before 3 years ago, 5 years ago, whatever. So we see where this thing started and how things can be changed. There are different techniques where you journaling like your feelings. Oh my God! Okay, that's why. It's about awareness. A lot of things we fix by just becoming aware of where that it came from. Maybe it's like your parents were like this. Maybe it was your father's thoughts. It's not even your thought. It was the idea of your father who couldn't do this. And now you subconsciously want to be loyal to your father. You want to be like your father because you love and respect him. And that's how he was to your mother. And that's how you picked up on your like 5-year-old kid. And you remember like, oh, yeah, it's not like that. I'm actually pretty open about that, and it's okay. I can actually see in her the both sides, and like that wow woman who is
Yeah.
a Madonna and a whore at the same time.
I mean, is that your stance? Like, as far as like women should be both?
Women shouldn't be anything.
Okay.
Women can choose whatever they choose to be. I am very pragmatic. Okay, if this doesn't work for you, change it.
Yeah.
If it works for you, you okay with that? That's fine. Some women are okay with their men. I don't like this word, cheating. I really don't like that. He goes and he has sex with other women. Some women are okay with that, believe it or not, for some other reasons. Or maybe she's like, okay, good, he's not touching me. That's fine.
Oh, that's terrible.
They're not being judgmental. That
Yeah,
people
yeah.
are different.
Right.
Really, we have our own set of beliefs, but some other people are okay with threesomes. Some other people are okay with whatever, gangbang. Some men enjoy seeing a woman like being pleasured by 10 men. There are different things happening. I know.
Definitely different
That's
things.
what. We don't talk about it. Like even you're so like advanced, and you're like, no. I see the body language,
like,
right?
I mean, not like I'm scared of it. Just I'm not into it. So it's not.
You don't
and again,
have to
I don't.
be.
I'm not.
You don't
to
have
each its
to
own.
be.
To each its own.
Exactly.
To each its own.
But I'm saying that there are options, and sometimes we don't know those options. But by exploring those options, maybe something will work for you. Or no, you're perfect. But those people, we're talking about those people. Those. When we know different options and way of doing it.
Does anything surprise you?
Oh, nothing.
Or have you heard it all?
I've
at
heard
this
it all.
point?
Yeah. No, I was interested in this before I started doing it myself. I mean, professionally, not myself sexually, and myself sexually too. It's just kind of I realized that it's an interesting world, but it's so taboo. But I'm interested in taboo. I'm interested in things that are underground. So I'm still like touching the waters. I'm not there yet. There's the BDSM, which is a different power control thing where it's consensual and you can.
You're giving me Samantha from Sex and the City vibes.
Yeah,
right now. A little
love
bit.
her. Yeah, I love her. she's good. She's sexy. So yeah, there's a lot of things that still have to be. I want. I don't need anything. I want to explore.
Yeah.
There's a lot. Yeah, psychedelics. I want to mention this.
Okay.
It's something.
I just had an expert on.
Oh yeah.
That does.
On what?
On mushrooms.
Mushrooms.
Yeah, and then I also had a guest that was a specialty on DMT. So that was a fascinating one, really fascinating.
Okay, it's so interesting because I think that's another. I wouldn't say it's a new world, but it's kind of where we started talking about. Like we started talking about sex. I think MDMA has a potential for couple therapy treatment. It wasn't approved by FDA back in this August for treatment of PTSD. Hopefully it will one day, and then it will open up possibilities for couples therapy. Because that's
definitely, hopefully it's like by prescription, because you deal with
it has to
all
be
this tampered stuff nowadays,
underground
like
market,
fentanyl and all this crap. So
well, let's separate the fentanyl and MDMA. That's just like
well, no, I'm saying that you can get MDMA if you're getting it from the street. It could have fentanyl.
Yeah, that's
in
why
it.
if
So it should
FDA
be
is approving it, then
right, exactly,
it's off. Yeah, it's going to be used off label for couple therapies,
Right.
but people are still doing it now, and it's helpful because you mentioned one of the conversation you mentioned having all those masks, and this thing helps you like remove those masks in like an hour, 2
Right.
hours.
Your inhibitions go out the window.
Right, and two people sitting there and like who've been together for 25 years, all of a sudden they're like raw, naked, they're totally exposed, and they totally themselves.
Yeah.
And then they can talk about their real issues and become really close in no time. I think it's amazing. I really want to study this more and get into this world of maybe helping people.
So I ask all my guests this: is there anything that you wish the world knew about you that they don't today?
No, I don't, because I'm still learning myself. I'm still exploring myself. So no, I want to be like a hidden gem.
Love it.
Really.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
This was awesome. And how do people find you? What's the best place?
Instagram always works.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. So
Thank you.
Katia.
Thank you so
Thank you
much.
so much.
Thank you.